Love. Start at the top. Bit of love. Even have a look. Sure. Come through. It's crazy. That's what we grew up in as normal. We are about to launch the Cut the Bullshit podcast, but I also wanted to share If I Can, You Can series that allows you to understand where it started, how toxic it was. Now, to give you context to where we are, if you look up here, I'll take a little scenario for yourself. This house is where, for me, a lot of the abuse started. My father, being who he was, trying to discipline me in this particular house, middle level here, 12 years of age, I jump out of this window and I'm down without a plan. And in life, without a plan, you're going to lead yourself up shit creek. I had to cut the bullshit at some point in time, but the lessons that became blessings as a 12-year-old kid, I took out onto the streets. Jumping out of that particular window, down here, walking out here, and I'll just go for a little bit of a walk and give you context to this area and the difference of growing up here versus growing up in an affluent suburb. And a lot of people see the now and how good life is, but they don't understand how far the journey's been. So we're going to take you through this series, show you some different points, the lessons that became blessings in my life. Let's go.
How much I've heard about you my whole life.
Oh, really? I was just looking at the number up there. 16 was the house where I grew up, in this building, in this block. In this particular room in general is where a lot of physical abuse happened. So I'd come through here, full fear, anxiety, get up here. Crazy thing was I've changed that fear and anxiety, and I've been able to calm myself down in situations, whether it's jumping out of an aeroplane, diving with sharks, which you've all seen on the socials. I think one of the biggest lessons that becomes blessing is if you leave that unchecked in your invisible backpack, which means you don't deal with that and you don't face it front on. And here's the tip. If you go all in, you burn all the boats, it'll take you no more than a year to flip that mentality, create a better reality around what happened to you is happening for you. Lessons become blessings. And I'm going to keep reinforcing that in this series to understand how, if I can, you can, in that scenario, going from a traumatized young kid who was abused, out on the street, homeless, dysfunctional, destructive, and down a path of crime that end up serving 20 years as a bank robber. You've got to understand, how did I flip all that? That's a huge question for anybody in any way of life. And you don't have to have grown up in a rough area, been to jail, taken drugs. Life in general is going to beat you up, and the destruction and dysfunction of your life, you can flip and change it when you see it through a different lens. And I can help you, but you've got to let yourself go and burn all the boats and just say, if this man can, I can. Love yous. Tacky. I think one of the biggest things I was trying to teach you as a lesson, as a blessing from this scenario, a lot of abuse there. I could sit with that for the rest of my life and really sit in a lot of pain, heartache, suffering, hate my father for what he did to me in my own eyes. But what I learned was it happened for me. It taught me a lot of things of value. It taught me that he was trying his best with what he had. In life, we'll judge people based on what we think they should be doing later on in life when we're equipped with that education or knowledge to be able to do better. But what I got to understand is where my dad's ceiling was. And if you understand that for yourself or someone within your life, maybe your own parents or someone of value to you, what he tried to do to me in that house was give me discipline, but he did it in a way that probably the only way that he knew. And when I say probably, I found that his father, the priest, and his school teacher actually physically abused him too. So what do you reckon he did to me? Passed on the same thing that he'd learned from his father. So understand, with your kids or those within your circle, make sure the value that you pass on is something of value that doesn't destroy someone's life. But I took that as happening to me to happening for me, and it turned into a strength and a power that you now see. But that's where it started. Let's roll. Another lesson I want to talk about, you look up at this set of flats and this is a picture of the area, broken dreams, regrets, no role modeling, and you're not meant to make it out of this area and do what I did. And it's a lesson that becomes a blessing. If I can, you can. And that's what this whole series will be about. Understanding what happened to you, what did you learn from it, how can you grow from it, how do you prosper into a better life. And once you understand that, the only person coming to save you is you, because in amongst all this was me. To change that, I had to do something different, something new. Be the champion of being a beginner and start to step away from what you think is a destructive life into lessons of life. Totally different aspect. Dun, 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 dun. The old oval, bro.